Yo, BJ Gaddour with the BJ Gaddour podcast. And on today's episode, I'm sharing my top 10 timeless fat burning tips. We are in shred mode, getting you sliced and diced for spring, summer. Obviously, we just launched our new program here on YouTube for VIP members called El FUEGO. Been having fun with that. It's become my new vocal warm up. The full body fat burning Inferno, 6 weeks. Follow along workouts, awesome program. I'm going to talk about week one before we start kicking off with the tips in a second here. But I've got a good collection of some training nutrition tips to help you max out your fat burning efforts. And again, I'm saying fat burning, fat loss more over the weight loss side of things. If you want to lose weight, take Ozempic. That seems to be the approach these days. Again, I'm blown away by the number of actors that just like overnight have like, again, I get it, by the way, like, why would you do the laborious work of changing your diet and having to exercise? If the goal is just to lose weight and get as thin as possible, especially when you're making millions of dollars, it's not your thing. It's actually like, I'm kind of blown away by how effective these weight loss drugs are. But again, my audience likes to put in the work because again, like when I say, I guess fat loss versus weight loss to me means like, that's like the classic, like magazines in the grocery aisle, get slim and tight. And they're not interested in actually like, building or performance or those types of things. Fat loss to me is like, it puts you in a category of, okay, like I want to get rid of body fat, but I want to max out my muscle. I want to be strong. I want to be mobile. I want to be athletic. I want to enhance performance and things that matter to me. It's just a totally different kind of group of people. Again, I'm not shitting on people going that route. Again, I'm actually like saying, wow, like this shit is super effective. Every movie I watch now or show comes back for another season, someone has obviously taken Ozempic. It just blows my mind. Or one of their like, knockoffs or other competitor drugs. But we're here to burn fat and the way that we do it. So 10 great tips coming your way. I'm going to share some content I've been watching as well at the end of the episode. But first, again, like click the join button, become a VIP member, access this amazing program. Loved going through the comments this morning from yesterday's workout on day one. People have really been, again, just great energy, positivity, enthusiasm, not just sharing how they liked the workout themselves or how it went for them, but also encouraging other VIP members. That's what it's all about, baby, building community. And I love that. And I appreciate you for that. So thank you. Great way to start my day and kind of seeing all that positivity come through. It's $20 a month, cancel anytime. I think you're really enjoying. Again, we're mixing some of my greatest hits with some new content as well. So I think you'll really enjoy it. So before I get into the top 10 tips, I just want to break down week one quick as we're kind of in it right now at the time of recording this. Also, as we get into those tips of fat loss, if you ever lost weight in a big way or transformed your body, burns a lot of fat, I'm curious, what is your top tip you can share with the community here? I'm just curious because, again, like I'm going to share these 10 tips. You probably have heard me mention them at some point if you're a longtime listener of the channel or whatever else or the podcast. But which tip do you feel resonated the most for your results? If you had a kind of a game-changing transformation regarding, losing fat and that type of thing in the past, I'd love to hear it in terms of what you thought was like, you were stuck and then you did this and it helped you break through, or just overall, if you reflect upon having lost weight in the past, what was it that you like, wow, that's the one, like, that's the one for me. Again, like I go back to when I was, growing up a fat kid and kind of maxed out my junior year in high school at about like 275. And it wasn't the same 275 I was in college, 4 or 5 years later, much more muscular and more of a man at that point. And for me, it really was just, I cut out bread and I cut out liquid calories and lost 50 pounds in a couple months. It became really a launching pad for everything I did after that, like getting into fitness, having an amazing football season my senior that allowed me to get into an amazing school where I met my wife. And just like, it was just truly, when I traced to it, it was like all the bread I was having each meal, I was drinking so many juices and I like milk and I like orange juice, but like I would, tall glass of juice and milk at every meal, drinking 6 sodas a day, not diet. cutting those things out, the bread and liquid calories at meals, was transformative to me. That's what sticks out for me. So I'm just curious, like, what was it? If you've lost weight in the past, just share. I'd love to see it here. I'm sure other people listening, watching would as well. So before I get into 10 tips, quick breakdown of week one. So yesterday, Monday, we started with the shred workouts from month one shred. This is the program I originally made back in 2021, and rapid fat loss Metcon, or metabolic conditioning style workouts, a la what you might know as speed shred or meta shred. And, you know, we did 60-30 core cardio supersets and or 45-15 PHA circuits or peripheral heart action circuits. And again, you have the option of doing one or the other. They're both 20-minute follow-along workouts. Again, people will ask. I just want to get ahead of that. So I've already answered a few of those questions. Like, you can do one or both. It depends on your schedule, fitness level. Maybe you wake up 20 minutes later on Monday and you look at, I can't do both. So just do one instead of saying, oh, I can't do it today. I give you two options there. And again, you can stack them on top. I recommend doing them in the flow that's outlined, which is the 60-30 core cardio supersets first, running the 45-15 PHA circuits. That's the recommended flow of doing that. Great workouts, classic routines. The 60-30 core cardio supersets is just, we're in fat loss mode. I love ground to stand alternating sets or supersets. That'll kind of carry into one of our tips in terms of how do you maximize fat loss, maximize every minute of your training, get your heart rate up, keep it up, keep the calories burning nonstop, but get all your body attacked over the course of the workout to max out, you know, the fat loss, the calorie burn, and getting all the good muscle work. And there's something special about it. I also have always found it to be a way to really get the heart rate up in a serious way. I just also love that kind of that extra challenge to your core when you're doing some cardiovascular work, right? Because it has to really lock down the breathing. A simple plank, like you do a plank, okay, no big deal. But you do a plank when you pair it like fast feet drills or high knee runs or skater jumps, and you're bringing that heart rate elevation and the huffing and puffing down to the plank. It really challenges because your breathing muscles are also they get involved in your core muscles. So it's kind of competitive in that manner, but also you tend to get more prone to injury in the state of fatigue and a state of huffing and puffing. It can throw off your posture. So it really helps you lock down your core when you need it the most, under cardio metabolic duress. So you got to be the eye, as I talk about in the metabolic storm. So just a really great workout. And again, the way those shred workouts will operate the first 3 weeks, they get a little bit harder each week. Then you go to a whole new set in the final 3 weeks of the program. I also threw in the month 3 workouts as optional, kind of active recovery during the 2 to 3 week transition period to the next program after El Fuego in there as well. The 45-15 PHA circuits, peripheral heart action. Basically what you're trying to do, it's the benefits of like a classic circuit training approach where you're kind of going between your upper body and your lower body, upper body, lower body. You're shuttling blood to the legs and back to the upper body and back. And so this full body blood flow is so important for both, not just basically activating your fat burning mechanisms and then oxidizing it obviously over the course of the workout. And it does really increase the oxygen demand, the calorie burn, and because you can alternate non-competitive movements, you can really keep the intensity high. But again, you get blown away how much I got done in 20 minutes. And the way those 20-minute workouts work, the first 10 minutes, you're getting into it, and then the second 10 really like starts to test you as that cumulative fatigue happens. Because again, it's a mix of aerobic and anaerobic work that happens. The anaerobic can kind of hit you more quicker, hits you right at the gate, but then the aerobic component hits you as you're recovering between movements, going to the next movements, repeating a circuit. So it's just a beautiful blend of, full body work. And the core cardio is more body weight based, which I have you do it first, kind of as in a way, it's a built-in warm up that preps you for the dumbbell or the 45-15 work to come. I forget it. That does have, I believe it has dumbbell stuff. Again, I'm sorry, I make so many of this stuff, but I do know the way I set that up, they go great back to back. And again, that just talking on timelines, 60-30 is phenomenal. 2-to-1 work to rest ratio gives you a full minute to kind of ramp up the intensity. It's not a sprint. Obviously, sprints are designed to be 10 to 20 seconds or less, but you're working hard for a full minute, and you can maximize. Maximize is it's our word of the day. Uncle Big Biscuit's bringing you his own Webster's dictionary here, but is the Urban Gym Dictionary is maximize. You maximize the carb burning zone, meaning that burning you feel in your muscles. That's your body metabolizing glycogen or the stored sugar in your muscles. So it's a carb burning activity. And you think, well, I want to burn fat. Well, the beauty of this is when you burn a lot of carbs during exercise through these types of work periods and intensities, you burn more fat at rest and in between workouts, especially when you have your diet locked in to support that style of training. So these are carb burning anaerobic kind of, I guess you would call HIIT style workouts. And that 30 to 60 seconds is kind of like the ideal zone for glycogen depletion, and burning those carbohydrates that allows you to maximize fat burn all their times. 45-15 is another great one. 3-to-1 work to rest ratio. And instead of supersets where you alternate between two movements, the way 60-30 works is you go 60-30 back and forth core cardio, and then you go to 3 total core cardio supersets over the course of the workout. The 45-15 circuit takes 10 minutes. You can do it twice through, and just has you kind of going from, the classic, like, I go push to pull to maybe more core to maybe leg or knee to hip, as you can set up circuits and just go on between different body zones, staying in motion, and working most of that minute, but keeping that rest really short to keep that nonstop work going. So as you feel those, it's like, wow, I feel like I got so much done. It's a great full body push. You don't need a lot of weight. And these are all minimal equipment workouts as well. So that's kind of how Monday's going to be looking. And I just love that. And again, maybe next Monday you wake up like, I'm just kind of wound down. I only have time for the 20 minutes or one of the 2 sessions. That's fine. When you can do both, do both. When you can't, just do one or the other. Tuesdays and Thursdays, that's the metabolic mobility days. Now, and we're going to touch on this and one of the tips. That's there to get you ready for the next training day. All right. We've got 4 main training days in this program. If you're really eager, excited, and I love that. I love the enthusiasm, but we got a long race to run here. And I talk about all the time, the discipline to rest, discipline to not push too hard, too fast, and how we set this up. It's just designed to get you ready for the next day. Even if you can do more, just pace. It's a long race, so you must pace just to get you sweaty, get a good stretch in. You're still going to be burning some calories and getting that aerobic work to help maximize that fat loss. Take advantage of those Tuesdays and Thursdays. Again, like early on in the program, things are going to keep getting harder each week. So you feel, I feel like this is too easy in week 1. It's a training wave. The tide, the wave gets higher each week, and then you don't want to find yourself conking out at week 3 or 4 because you kept adding on additional stuff on Tuesdays or Thursdays, even on the main training days, and not taking at least a full day off a week. But those metabolic mobility routines are just great. It's light, it's easy, it's practice, it's stretching, you get a good sweat, and it just supports your fat burning goals, but accelerates the recovery to make sure the days that matter the most from a standpoint of stimulating the fat loss and maintaining, if not building muscle, on Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday with our 4 main training days a week split. That's where you want to save your energy for. So think about those, like if you're in a competition or sports, you got 4 games a week, and the other days are designed to get you ready for those games. Don't cash out Tuesday and Thursdays, so we end up in a situation where the effort is just piss poor and you overtrain, and just it's not going to help you. Trust me on that. El Fuego 1.0 is I shot it last Friday. It's this Friday workout. It's our epic leg day to really accelerate fat loss and test your mental fortitude at the end of the week with these progressive box squat workouts. I'm like, again, it's kind of it's a nice challenge from a programming standpoint, as I mentioned on last week's episode. how can I make your legs look like that of a 300, 400, 500-pound squatter with mostly body weight? And being mindful of our over 30, over 40 audience, be mindful of the fact that I have to actually film these and do these. And I'm battling the bone spurs and the arthritis. And it's actually funny too. Right before I was about to film it on Friday, I noticed a big pocket of fluid or swelling on my left knee, the real problematic one. And I was like, fuck, it's just one of those things. Like I had to get this done because I knew it was probably going to be even more swelling on Saturday. But I was able to do the workout with no pain, no restriction, because again, using the box, I'm not just building these out for myself, for you, but also maybe your future self. You ever have a knee problem or a back issue? Like, these are so easy on the back and the knees. The leg and hip burn was phenomenal. It was a beautiful slow cooking time and retention session. And I also bookended it with kind of the optimal warm-ups and cool downs. Shout out to Jordan Robertson with the El Fuego. And Total Body Tony says, go talk. I appreciate that, brother. Shout out to those guys coming in. And I mean, we start with this like seated mobility flow that takes 10 minutes. And by the way, as I mentioned in the video, you can do these at your desk. You know, like these can become EHO drills for you. There's 5 of them. You can do one of them on the hour every hour for a minute or two, or a minute per side, based on if they are single-sided, and just kind of drift them throughout your day. And twice through for a 10-hour workday, you can do it. Or just while you're watching TV, while you're waiting for your bus or your train, or you got to start finding those spots. And it's also just kind of great. It gets you seated at the box height you're about to use for the box squat workout to come, box squat burner 1.0. And then we really go through a series of great stretches for the groin, the glutes, the hamstrings, get some tension into those legs, the hip flexors. So you have a great squat focused workout. Then we go into the box squat burner 1.0, 2-minute work periods, only 30 seconds between. And I actually had you supersetting a box bridge, or you call it a hip thrust. I don't care what you call it. But it's been called a bridge for centuries. So we'll just go with that. And then a box squat. So you're activating, kind of greasing the groove, really trying to teach you how to become more hip dominant with your squats. Is critical. The more hip dominant you are with your squats, the more you can lead your squat with the hip, the less stress on your back and knees, the stronger you'll be, and the more miles you'll get from that. And again, the box allows you, whatever you're sitting on, to really helps with that. So it only takes 30 minutes to do box squat burner 1.0, body weight only, lots of great tempo and tweak stuff. And again, it's nonstop, only 30 seconds of rest between movements, and those 2-minute sets. Like, again, I've said this many times, like, you want to find muscle activation. You want to really feel the movements work. The muscles are designed to work. You cut the load in half and you double the time under tension. And with 2 minutes, like, body weight feels like heavyweight. Lightweight goes a long way. And you have the time to really work on your form and technique throughout that workout. In the follow-on format, I'm cueing you, like, focus on your big toe. Really try to emphasize the knee drive based on the movement we're working on. And again, if the movements are too quick, you're just kind of, you go through the motion, you're blowing through the stuff where there's true work. We're emphasizing the eccentric portion, or stopping at key points along the way and owning them isometrically, or as we're doing a lot of these hover sit-offs, like just working on sitting on, just raising briefly off the box and engaging and building the bottom of your squat. You build the bottom of that squat and you own that bottom. Everything in between is a piece of cake. And then working in some pulsing and going from, even within a set, going from a slower start to faster finishes. So it's really, it's an awesome workout. I'm going to build upon it each week for you. And we really cook it out, and you finish with a 10-minute lower body focused foam roll session. Again, it's an hour or less. I share the videos in the playlist with, there are 3 separate videos. So you can just, if you want to just, I need my legs, need some love, do the foam roll session. It's a standalone, maybe on off days. Or do the stretch session on the off day. Or you can piece them all together. Or if you find yourself really short on time, only got 30 minutes, just do box squat burner 1.0. There's a built-in warm-up to all my workouts, but I did bookend it with additional warm-up cool down to get the most out of the session. So just wanted to touch base on that. And then Saturday, you've got your first old school delts workout, an upper body focused muscle building style workout. It's you're going more Metcon Monday and Wednesdays, you're going metabolic bodybuilding. So Meta Shred Monday, Wednesday, Meta Gains on Friday and Saturday. Just a great overall setup for you guys. So click join. You can join anytime. Like, jump in with us, guys. You will not regret that. We had a good flood of new members, which I really appreciate. If you're new and you have questions, just drop a question in the comments. If it's something I can answer in more detail, I'll save it for another future live stream, and I'll get back to you during weekdays, ideally within 24 hours. Weekends, I might sometimes take the whole weekend based on what's going on, but would love to have you jump in on this. I think you'll really enjoy it. So let's get into tip one, and it relates to what we kind of just talked about. Alternating high and low intensity days. As the kids say, you don't want to be mid. Okay. What ends up happening, again, I've made all these mistakes. So again, I realize the importance of having to make these mistakes on your own, but hey, like, if I can help you avoid the mistakes, great. If you have to learn them through trial and error, that's fine too. But again, at least you'll know, just trust me on this. You go through a situation where I want to get as many results as possible really fast. I'm excited. I want to jump on that. I love that. I don't want to discourage your enthusiasm. But what ends up happening when you do like the classic, like super shred mode, right? You do metabolic resistance training or full body circuits on, let's say, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then you hammer your body with additional cardio interval, sprint style stuff on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. And even on Sunday, you're like, I'm going to do extra stuff. You might be able to do it for a week. You get to the point with this stuff where the sessions start to become less and less high intensity because there's no recovery. And now it's just like every day is mid intensity. And you're not going to get the results you're looking for. You have to stagger high and low intensity days. Again, the low days, as remember we said in 2020, rest days are the best days. Those are the days that keep you in the game. That's where you focus on, the massage, the mobility. And again, even on those days too, if you don't want to do the metabolic mobility, or you want to do additional stuff on top of metabolic mobility, do extra foam rolling. Do a nice good walk. Don't do more high intensity stuff. With the exception of, we'll talk about like some EHO and some strength and stuff like that. You gotta create this high-low contrast to maximize results. It's very difficult to do anything at a nonstop mild intensity in terms of actual changes to the body. You want to go high, you got to go low, in and out of the gym. So just understand that you want to stay ahead of the recovery curve. A training wave, right? The way it builds up properly is, the wave starts to crest, at least in a 6-week, starts to crest around week 4. But it'll wipe you out if you are overdoing the off days. And then again, you overdo the off days, and then the intensity that you need on the main training days is not going to be there. You're going to just feel like you're constantly conking, hitting a wall, and we're not maximally getting that post-workout afterburn, which is just burning fat at rest to take advantage of what that style of training, that metabolic conditioning style of training provides. So if you find yourself conking out during your main training days, that's going to tell you got to do a better job on the rest days, on the off days. The off days are designed to turn you on for your main days. So that's a mindset to have with this stuff. Okay. So that's number one. You got to alternate high and low days. You can't just do constant high days. And don't forget too, if you are in a fat loss block, typically you're going to be in energy deficit. You're probably changing your diet accordingly, and you're getting less fuel. So this is the classic mistake. I'm getting less fuel, so let me do more training now than ever before, with less energy. And again, that's you're going to hit a wall, and it's going to affect your work. It's going to affect your mood outside of the workouts, and then that's when you kind of find yourself in a bad situation. And by the way, it's also going to make you hungrier. And I know you know this, but I mean, you hear all the time, like, you can't out exercise a bad diet, and within 5 minutes you can consume more calories than you could burn in 2 or 3 hours. I mean, it's crazy to think about things that way. So the last thing you want to do is make yourself too hungry. It means that you're putting up way too much stress into the system, and that's just going to make you crave junk food and overeat to compensate for the too much activity. At the right dose, it can help you manage hunger. And if anything, like, what you'll find The Metcon stuff can actually make you hungrier than the metabolic mobility or the more aerobic, lower intensity stuff, which actually can curb hunger. So that's why you can't do too much of that stuff, because you're just going to be voracious, and you tend to also want to eat too much of the bad stuff too. So number one, alternate high and low intensity days. Number two, you got to prioritize protein. I mean, protein and produce, but in particular protein, because that's what's going to fill you up. That's what's going to help preserve your muscle. You are going to be more prone to losing muscle when you are in a fat loss plan, when you're putting yourself in a caloric deficit. The exceptions are people that are new to exercise. They've studied this, where people that are new to exercise are coming off an extended 6+ month layoff. They have no problem without drugs, naturally, building muscle and burning fat at the same time. People that have been doing this a very long time, never miss, veterans, they understand, okay, like, can't do it all naturally, especially as you get older. And that's why you should focus. I'm going to build more muscle, then move to more burning more fat. Maybe I want to focus more on performance. And because you can't, you have limited energy and resources. And if you do too many things at once, they kind of can be competitive. And then you just don't have enough energy to give to all those buckets. You focus on one bucket, and the goal is burn fat, lean out, maintain the muscle mass I built up to this state. If you can gain, great. But again, it's more of maintaining the muscle mass mindset. And again, one of the best ways to do that is to at least maintain your protein intake, if not increase it. Protein is of all of the three macronutrients, protein, fat, carbohydrate. It takes the most energy. They call it the thermic effect of feeding. The most energy to digest, twice as much or more in some cases. Very filling. If you feel like you're at a meal and I'm still hungry, that's when you go for a little extra lean protein. If you need it. I always go through, wait like 10 or 20 minutes and see if it's just, your mind or more eating with your eyes. But if you do need some extra food, let's say at dinner, a little extra protein, that's going to be fine. Obviously, don't kill it, but you got to get your protein intake. If not up, keep it at least where it's been to help with the recovery process, keep you full, but also keep you from eating the other stuff that can slow down a fat loss plan. One thing I'll know too, a good supplement during, you think, just in gains mode, that's when I should take creatine. No, actually, creatine can help maintain strength in a caloric deficit as well. Another supplement, I don't have a link to anything. You can check out the creatine we recommend. Beta-alanine is kind of the ideal supplement for the more metabolic conditioning workouts and like 30 to 60 second work periods. Creatine will have more of an impact, like 10 to 20 seconds or less, based on how our energy systems work. But creatine, just the supplementation of alone will just go a long way to helping maintain your strength and muscle mass, in my opinion, especially in a caloric deficit. So, the protein and produce focus, protein and produce, it's the squat and the push-up of diet. These are the things you need. It gives you everything you need: the essential amino acids, the vitamins, and the minerals. It fills you up. It's nutrient dense. And then anything on top of that, like healthy fats, like olive oil, avocado, grass-fed butter, if you can get grass-fed in moderation. And then you just want to be mindful of, the actual servings of starch that you have. I mean, you get your carbohydrates from the produce. When you get your carbohydrates mostly from produce, the fruits and the vegetables, you're going to automatically keep your calories lower, and you're going to keep yourself more full, because part of the goal of a good fat loss plan is tricking your mind. Like your brain, it's sensing this is less calories than normal. But as long as there's a food volume coming in that's similar to what you were used to, you're not going to be as hungry, and it's going to be easier to trick your brain into not letting it fight you to burn the fat. Again, you'll learn this through experience, but just make sure that your protein intake is in check. And again, what that could be too is, maybe maybe you have a nightly dessert of a protein shake before bed. That's a nice way to, if you're not used to supplementing with protein, but you have a little sweet treat at night, or you're craving something, your sweet tooth tends to hit a little bit at night around bedtime. There's a way to get your protein intake up for 100 or 200 calories or less. That'll fuel your recovery and give you a little bit of sweet at night. that's another way to do it. One of the classic ways, by the way, just to like get into a really simple, clean caloric deficit, is to just take one of the meals you were having over the course of a day, typically, and just making it protein only. Whether it's just a protein shake only, or just meat, or your plant protein of choice. It's tougher to do that because plant proteins will have more carbohydrate, and you have to have a lot of it to get the 40 plus grams you need to kind of activate muscle protein synthesis. But that's a simple way to look at it. Jordan Robertson says, in honor of El Fuego, I'm doing Dave's Hot Chicken tomorrow before the Wolves Hornets game. First time or any recommendation? I know it's Wednesday, but I'll be hammering some calories tomorrow after double X1. Yeah, that's a hot chicken is one of my favorite cheats, especially like Dave's, because Dave's chicken is very thinly breaded and it's spicy. So it's hard to overeat spicy food. I'm kind of jumping ahead to one of my tips coming up, but I would say get at least one Reaper. Like it's not as like always consistently like hot. Occasionally you'll get a Reaper. The Reaper's the hottest one. And sometimes it's so very, here's a tip. Don't touch your face. Okay. Like if I'm prone to like, doing this, you got a beard and you don't realize like, if that gets anywhere near the eyes, you're done. You're cooked, especially with the Reaper. But I like to get 4 to 6 of those guys, 4 to 6 is good. That's a good protein. Like, what is it? Each one of those feels like 40 grams to me. So, and by the way, like prioritizing protein, make your cheat days like protein focused. Again, it'll fill you up fast. It'll drive recovery, and it's very difficult to overeat protein the way you can overeat junk carbs. Like, I mean, you can eat whole bags plus of chips. You can eat whole jars of peanut butter. At some point, the chicken is going to fill you up, especially when it's spicy. So, and again, I just like Dave's because it's very thinly breaded. So get at least one Reaper just to see if you can handle it, and then get see if you can handle the hots. Again, it also slows you down. It's not just because my father's from North Africa where it's like, it's all about spicy food and it's all about like suffering when you eat. It's very strange, but it's in my DNA, I guess. But I love hot chicken. Just try to get as thinly breaded as possible, and get at least one Reaper to see if you're up for it. But the milds and the hot, it's plenty hot, so you can enjoy the meal. I don't want you. I mean, I've done like 4 to 6 all Reaper, and it's. I mean, your butthole is just going to be on fire the next day. I mean, you got to basically say, okay, all morning is toilet time. Just in intervals of toilet time. You're basically doing high intensity toilet training the day after, like a Reaper, more than just like 1 or 2 Reapers. So that is a tip I would take to heart. Number 3, maximize the off days. And you're doing that with the metabolic mobility routines. And again, I also want to understand, like, the goal on an off day is just to sweat and stretch. Light movement and practice. All it is. It's like you should have no anxiety on those days. Like, before a tough workout, you might get some butterflies. And again, like, I don't mind a couple times a week you getting some butterflies. That tells you, okay, like, this is challenging. And you know what? If it doesn't challenge you, it won't change you. You got to get comfortable getting uncomfortable, but not every single day. That's not what this is about. I'm trying to get you guys doing this for the long haul. I want it to be sustainable. If it's not sustainable, it's questionable. And you're just saying, okay, I want to get lathered up. I want to get moist. I want to do a nice light calorie burn. I want to take these tender muscles and I want to smooth them out. And I will get some blood there. And I want to help get rid of inflammation in the body so that I'm ready for a peak performance on the main days. Again, you're on 4 of 7 days a week. You're on. You're off the other 3. Those 3 days are the most, you won't believe me, but again, especially over 30, over 40, like what do you think? Like, do you think the day before I film, I'm doing my hardest workout of the week? No, I'm tapering down to get ready for peak performances when I film on Thursday and Friday. And when I don't do that, and that may have been what happened to when I got that swelling in my left knee. I may have overdone it leading up until the week, and you pay the price. So stay ahead of the recovery curve. I'd rather you have higher intensity days. I just want peak performances from you guys as often as possible in those 4 days. And that's it. So you think about it that way. I'm only challenging myself really hard 4 to 7 days a week. But in reality, many of you, because you only look at, if you're not have been doing this a long time or you're still haven't bought into the importance of recovery, you're looking at those 3 days as like the non-important days, or I'll just skip them, or just. And the thing is, if you come in stiff and sore to the main days, you're going to start the workout slow, and you might run into pain or discomfort. It's just not going to work out for you. So I'm challenging you to just be a pro. Professionals, like a true pro with their body, their focus heightens on the off days, because they're like, what's sore? What's tight? What can I do today to be better suited for a peak performance tomorrow? And that's the mindset I want you guys to get into. And Robert jumped in. Robert Bellinger just made the switch to 2. Feels good to join VIP. Had a rough year. Blew up my ankle in May. Had a nasty fall on the ice. Day before Thanksgiving, tore my right tricep beginning El Fuego today. Wow, man. So sounds like 2024 was brutal. I'm sorry to hear that, Robert. Really pumped to have you back on the and into our programming. A new VIP member, and take it slow. And by the way, like if you're managing injuries, a lot of times the metabolic mobility coming off of a layoff or that type of thing, it can be challenging to people. So initially, like, our warm-ups become other people's workouts as you kind of get through the process with this. And so if you feel like, oh, it's a little bit too tough for me, maybe just do one. Don't do both 20-minute sessions, just do one. Or you say, you know what, on a day where like something's tender or tight, you might have to say, I may have to just do an additional metabolic mobility day. Again, a sweat and stretch day, because my body isn't up for it today. Again, sometimes you just wake up and like, something happens. Obviously, Robert was dealing with some actual injuries there. But one thing to note, Robert, and if you go to the homepage, youtube.com/BJ Gaddour, and you scroll down, and you'll see VIP members only training plans and stuff like that. Mobility flows. I've got one for the ankle. There's some toes and some feet in there as well. But that's where like our go-to stretching, mobility, foam roll stuff you can find there as well. And just be mindful of hitting those 2 on off, like maybe add them additionally on off days, or if you add them as an additional warm if you have the time. But I'm excited to have you back in here. And again, take it slow, do what you can, keep us posted, and we can always help you troubleshoot along the way so you stay in the game. But pumped to have you back, and this is a great time to jump in to what we're doing here. So excited for that. But I remember I had one of my all-time favorite routines I made back in for the Stream Fit days and early Men's Health days was called Sweat and Stretch, where I did 60 seconds of kind of ramping up slowly to like a faster, more aggressive effort. Let's say it was a stationary run. The first 20 was light, and the next 20 I built up, and the final 20 I was pumping. And then I would do about 2 or 3 minutes of either a stretch or a foam rolling massage drill. And I would just kind of go on that for like, whether it be 30 or 60 minutes. That's another way you guys can look at, especially as you get more ownership and learn these routines. You get the good sweat, and you get the blood flowing, and you get the muscles and joints warm. They're primed to stretch, and they're primed to receive the massage in a better way. So that's also that's the mindset on those days. And if you find yourself in a situation where I'm not up for what's scheduled to be a high intensity day, do you do nothing? Sometimes you do, maybe, but what I prefer is you go low. You listen, you adjust. And, by the way, that's part of the benefit of how we do our schedule here. We're going 6 weeks on and, let's say 2 weeks off. If you have to push things back occasionally a day, that's fine, because there is a 2-week block at the end of this that if you we have some people that had just finished Superhero Shoulders and are going right into El Fuego, whether because they started late or they had to push some things back, or they just had one of those insane weeks. Like, first 3 weeks are great, and then all of a sudden week 4, something crazy happens at work or in the house, or you got your fucking roof is leaking, or you have, who knows, your pet is sick and it throws off your schedule. Just know, don't stop, don't quit. Adjust things as needed that week. There's a 2-week period. There's a buffer zone that allows you to kind of push things back, move things around, so you kind of stay on schedule and stay on track with us as well. So don't. Schedule is great, but there's a flexibility built into the schedule with the 2-week active recovery period that comes off of the 6 weeks of training. Just want you guys to know that. Number 4, soups, salads, and smoothies. This is the meal prep. I mean, it's timeless meal prep. But again, particularly during a fat loss, and what do we talk about? less calories are coming in. You've got to trick your brain with food volume. You got to trick your stomach with food volume. And when you eat things like big ass salads and big bowls of soups or chilies, bone broth base is even better. And you get that collagen going. And then, obviously the midday shakes or smoothies. These are things, again, on Sunday, you can make a soup for the whole week. That can be your lunch or your dinner all week long. And again, we're all dealing with the cost of food. It's insane. It really is. It may never change. Maybe this is the new normal in terms of food costs and stuff like that. But, so you've got to find ways to make this shit affordable. And unfortunately, the most expensive stuff is the healthy stuff, the protein, the produce. So big batching, chilies and chicken soups and making big ass salads that just take a long time to eat, that really allows your body the time it needs to get full. Beyond the fact that there's so much nutrition in there and you can throw some protein on top. And then again, make the soup spicy. Again, spicy. By the way, red pepper flakes, every fat burner in existence has capsaicin in it, which is one of the main ingredients of red pepper flakes. I put red pepper flakes on everything. I might even start throwing in my protein shakes. We'll see. Let me test that first. I don't even think you taste it, but that's the level of it may help me burn more fat, but you might lose respect for me as a human being. But you don't have to say anything for the gains or the shred. If you don't know what to do, keep it simple. And again, this is you go Sundays and you get, again, I look out, for example, ground beef, one of my go-to protein sources. At some point, by the way, I'm going to share my top 10 superfoods. These are the foods that just are in my diet every week. And these are the foods that I try to budget for and buy in bulk when I can on discount. Occasionally when you can find grass-fed ground beef on sale, buy a bunch, freeze the rest. And, 2 to 3 pounds of that can be the base of a great chili for the rest of the week. And you mix in things like turkey and stuff like that too. But I'm just being honest with what, for me, me and beef are we're best friends, and try to be responsible with my beef intake. And I budget around it. And you get in the habit of having a lot of soup, salads, and smoothies. You're going to love the way you look. You're going to love the way you feel. And you can find a way to eat this way affordably for the long haul. And these recipes can be very simple and straightforward. I don't really change them much. Very easy to make beef chili. It's super easy to make chicken soup. You can literally just throw a whole chicken into your chicken bone broth and you don't even have to cook the chicken. And then throw in some carrots and whatever veggies you like. Just keep it super simple. Food volume, nutrient dense, affordable. Make it spicy when you can. I guess it doesn't apply as much to the smoothies, but that's meal prep 101, especially on a fat burning plan. Soups, salads, smoothies. Get familiar with it. Number 5, EHO is the new NEAT. EHO, every hour, on the hour, NEAT, non-exercise activity thermogenesis. Basically means all the calories you burn outside of exercise. Now, the classic approach to this is just getting as many steps as possible. You get a pedometer, and then you're trying to get, X number of steps a day and stuff like that. Let's try to make sure the calories we burn are more productive. I love steps. I walk every day, but I'm not by the way, I've been there in the past when those, the first pedometers come out, or you do a pedometer challenge or a steps challenge, or especially when those first early trackers came out. And it's I have a goal of getting, let's say, 10,000 steps. You find yourself at 9 p.m. and only 9,000 steps. And you're doing some crazy shit before bed, fucking with your sleep to hit the goal. Right. And again, what is it beyond a step or a calorie? Well, that's it. Versus something that is more mobility focused, or maybe it is some strength work. And there isn't as much, I guess, classic strength work in this plan. We're more fat loss focused. But I love to still keep doing my submaximal pull-ups and dips, my hang mobility and stuff like that. I can drip that. I'm burning the calories, and I'm getting mobility benefits, and I'm getting strength benefits, which is very important in the fat loss space to maintain your strength. Your strength can go down because, again, you are in an energy deficit. And sometimes too, as you lose body size, you do lose some leverage with especially when using weights, where you might feel like you're getting a little bit weaker, but that's what happens when you reduce body size. Again, you can't do it all at once, and you can't have it all at all times. The goal is, as you cycle through different foci, you keep rising tides, right? And then you should keep raising your baseline level of fitness. So over the course of a year, your strength has gone up, your muscle you gain muscle, and you're leaner. Where maybe during certain phases of the year that they might fluctuate based on the goal, right? So we cycle our emphasize. It's a lot of the multi things to work with here, sayings, but try to get more neat through the EHO approach and just more productive way of versus just steps. Like, I'd rather you do some step up mobility stretching, or some actual step ups, because there is like a actual muscle building, fat burning stimulus happening there. That's just not, a simple step. Not that I don't want you to get steps, not that I want you to walk, but the traditional approach has just been moving for moving's sake. Well, let's move with purpose. If you have tight hips, it's going to affect you on the squat workout. So like I said, do those box squat mobility stretches I showed you for FUEGO 1.0. Drip those over the course of the day. You're burning calories and you're benefiting yourself and prepping your body for your workouts. That's that kind of locked in mentality of what can I do, not just to move, but to move that'll enhance my training, will make me feel better, get me out of pain, fix some weaknesses or imbalances that are going to hold me back during this workout. Because again, this is the plan for all of you. You all have different strengths or weaknesses. Let the additional movement you do outside of the workouts, whether it be EHO style or broken into blocks of time, let's say immediately upon waking, or before bed or after work. Everybody has a different schedule. I like to drip it because what happens, especially if you front load it earlier in the day, you get so much done by the time you get home from work or done with work that, you almost want to do more, but even if you don't, it's done, right? It's already in the bank. Beyond the fact that you could also just say, during my nightly entertainment with the family or watching a game, I'm going to EHO my mobility or get some strength work in that I can do in front of the television, or doesn't take me away from the family. But, that's the stuff like shin boxing on the floor while watching a game, or having your foam roller there and just massaging out the glutes, the quads, maybe the rear shoulder, if that's tight. It's a way to burn more calories, accelerate your fat loss, but again, help you on your on days, help you get the most out of your main training days. So just want to really touch on that. And it's critical to go about that. And anytime I don't, you end up feeling too stiff and you end up feeling like you need more of a warm up during your workouts. What you'll find with the EHO approach is that your body's just ready to go at all times. Not that you don't need to warm up, but you're just not you're not scared. You're in a rough shape. And I've been there where when you're cold, I'm not sure if I want to do this lunge right now. I don't trust my knee. But if I'm kind of lunge stretching and hip stretching and squatting throughout the day, I can trust my body more because I know it's not so cold and stiff and tight. And that's what's really important. I find with the EHO approach, I can trust my body at all times more, which is important. Number 6, Jordan says that's Diablo level. Diablo. I got to keep working in. If I find the time, I'll try to work in more heat themes. But number 6 is carb calorie cycling made easy. Again, I've touched on this many a time, but the basics are never too basic. And just without you having to become to have a registered dietitian degree or to require the services of nutrition. It's not that I'm against that. If you feel it's necessary, it's as simple as higher carb days on higher intensity days, lower carb days on lower intensity days. The mindset of your carbohydrate intake, all carbohydrate intake outside of produce, fruits and vegetables, and fruit can be incorporated in that too, because fruit does have sugar, natural sugars. But if you're having 6 servings of fruit a day, that could potentially be 100 plus grams of sugar. Maybe that we could cut down, especially on lower intensity days. Look at your impacting carbohydrates as activity based. On a lower intensity day, you're not burning as much carbohydrate. Let's get it low. And then what that also does too is when you kind of do those carb burning workouts on Monday, Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays, it's going to make room for maybe your flexibility on the weekend. It's going to put you in a situation where you're burning more fat at rest. And when you have lower carbohydrates on the off / quote unquote rest days, you're going to burn more body fat. It's so, it just, trust me on this. It's just a beautiful way to, not go like, when you go extended low carb, that can be very effective the first 2 weeks. There's a big water loss, which you perceive as a big weight loss as well. But there's no denying, like, it's the fastest way to burn fat, period. Of all the types of diets, that's why the keto or low carb Atkins style stuff, I mean, it is like, it's the most effective short-term diet in the game. No one stays with it long-term. So by cycling, you can get the benefits of low carb to maximize the fat burning hormones, but keep away excessive cortisol and getting you in a situation where your hunger hormones just get out of control, where you end up binging and sabotaging yourself on weekends or quitting altogether. So the way you could approach it this way is, I'm just going to have fruits and vegetables on my off days, and then I'll add in 1 or 2 servings of carbohydrate or starch. Maybe it's rice, or it's sprouted grain bread, or it's that type of thing. Granola, like healthy granola that's not too much sugar added. And I'm going to save that for my main training days. And what I'd recommend too is just understanding how much carbohydrate you burn during exercise. Typically, like it's all based on body size. So someone really big and muscular can hold like 300 to 400 grams of carbohydrate in their muscles and their liver. They can run on that the whole week. You do, and over the course of a workout, you could maybe metabolize 50 to 100 grams of stored carbohydrate. So that, right? So that's why, like, if you keep things lower and you refuel once a week, like, again, like I look at it like a gas. I have an electric vehicle now, so I don't have to fill up once a week like I used to with a gas car. But you fill your tank up once a week versus topping it off or overflowing it every day like most people do with their carb intake, and that's why they have too much belly fat. Frankly, like that's. You don't want to be no carb, but you have to be very mindful of the starches and the added sugar stuff. And again, if you want to have that flexibility in the weekend in particular, that's why, like, I typically don't eat many, like even potatoes. I don't have many potatoes during the week because I just love to go heavy potato with my Sieta chips or my Boulder Canyon chips. Or if I want to go burgers and fries, I tend to go bunless burger, even on a flex day. That's how I like to do things. You might be different than me, where you want to be more of a daily portioning versus like getting a big fill up of the tank at the end of the week. It's all based on schedule and preference. But I love alternating high and low days. And by the way, that is built in it's built in calorie cycling too. You go too low in your calories for too long. Again, hormones always win. Once those hunger hormones and those stress hormones get out of control, all you'll be thinking about is eating. You also will get lethargic. You'll be shit at work. You'll be making mistakes. You'll be starting to slur your language. Like, those are signs that you're burning that candle too long. So and also knowing, like, you're never more than a day away from a higher carb day, or like sneaking in some post-workout granola, or you love your chicken and rice and broccoli, but maybe it's just chicken and broccoli on Tuesdays and Thursdays, right? So experiment with it. Again, the goal here is, for some of you, it might be to burn all the fat you'll ever need in 6 weeks, and that's great. But everything you're doing is a preparation for the next thing you're going to do. So you look at this fat loss cycle this year. This is going to help you be better. The next year you do it. And again, like, you get to the point, like someone like me who's been doing this for so long, there's never any stress associated with it, because you've already ran so many of these races and you've gotten so strategic about it. And you know that even when you fuck up, you can make changes or adjust things and tweak things later in the week or in the following weeks to compensate. Because again, it's not just a day. You take it a day at a time, but one bad day over the course of 6 weeks, it doesn't really have that much consequence. Now, if you find yourself having a lot more bad days than good days, something has to be adjusted, right? So I don't want to make diet too complicated for you guys. And by the way, if you have a plan that already works for you, that's fine. But in terms of what helps maximize fat loss, and also extended low carbs, like going like for 2+ weeks or more, you're more prone to, you will lose significant amounts of muscle and strength, and your workout just becomes shit. Because again, you do need glycogen to do good, intense, hard training, which helps you burn fat, build muscle, elevate metabolism. That feeds the whole system, right? Yeah, you can run on ketones, but not effectively. You get brain fog and your workouts start to become shit. And then that accelerates the loss in performance and strength and all that stuff you don't want to deal with. Simple high-low days or lower carb weekdays, higher carb weekend day. I want to go. I mean, if you're prone to weight gain and or you're like it's hard for you to lose fat. I wouldn't do weekends. It would be a day or maybe like a half day. We'll touch on that later in the coming tips. Number 7, full body workouts with alternating sets like that. Again, whether you want to call it Metcon or metabolic conditioning or whatever else, these are foundational workouts to burn fat. And again, it's classic supersets or circuits or complexes. Complexes are where you're doing things nonstop with one training tool. It could be your body, it could be dumbbells. Love those. It's nonstop work and you're flowing between different movements. The wheels, by the way, I should have touched on for week 1, the double X1, it takes all the movements from X1, our best-selling, most popular 2023 Express program. An amazing core cardio workout designed to help with gait and overall body alignment, walking, running, form, and technique, and really leveling out the pelvis, locking down the core, fixing your posture at the level of the upper back, but building good cardiometabolic conditioning as well. What I meant to talk about this being in the episode, but here we are. I took what was a circuit format and made it a wheel. So, and then I made the way wheels work. There's a hub, the main move you start with and keep coming back to, and then the wheel, the spokes are the accessory movements you bounce between. And the hub, and there's basically 5 different 10-minute workouts. So again, you might look at that and say, it's 60 minutes, I can't do it. As I mentioned when I posted it, no, it's 5 different 10-minute workouts. Each 10-minute workout gets more challenging. Maybe you do 1 or 2 of them if you only have 10 or 20 minutes. You can always come back and do the other ones. Or you only can do 3 or 4. Maybe you can do all 5 because you're feeling great and you have the time. That's great. So don't look at it. Just look at it as added value. If you can't do all of it, and that's fine. You can come to it. But the hubs start more mobility focused with, let's say, the bridge march, moving to the wall march, then to the stationary march. Then they get more cardio, metabolic, and fat burning focused, calorie crushing focused with the stationary run. Then we go agility focused with the lateral 3-step to balance. And the spokes are all core exercises: the hollow body hold, the front plank, the side plank, and then also the good split switch stretch. And there's the first spoke of all those wheels to be constantly opening up the hips. So what you'll notice after a couple of those wheels, especially go all the way through, the hips just start opening up like butter. Your mechanics get just feel amazing. And then these simple movements like the side plank, the front plank, no, they feel like you're doing advanced plank variations because of, especially as things get more cardiovascular, like we alluded to earlier in the episode here. Again, that's how you take simple movements you've done a lot of times before, the basics, and make them feel advanced with the right combinations and stuff. And again, it's just a beautiful flow because you're constantly coming back to the hub and bouncing between. I don't know, it's an amazing workout. It's your Wednesday workout, your hump day workout. Do however many of those wheels as you can. And again, that's a workout you're going to want to save. Just save it for later, put it on your watch later playlist or your favorites. You can actually make your own YouTube playlist, by the way, using my content. As you guys know, that's the beauty of YouTube. Just put away your favorite workouts, these back pocket workouts like double X1. X1, just as X1 has always been like the go-to entry-level body weight equipment-free workout. That's only 20 minutes long, follow-along base. Double X1 can be like your more advanced version, hotel-friendly, indoor-outdoor friendly. And Robert says, I love the wheel format is amazing. And I'm not saying every one of these double X reloaded versions will be wheels. It just depends. I think I'm programming and editing double X2 tomorrow, which is your week 2 Wednesday workout. I think what I'm probably going to do is take those each stages of the get-ups and pair them with body weight movements in some way. I'll cook it up real nice for you guys, but that'll be a totally new challenge. Going from, let's say, a lateral hinge with a dumbbell to a side plank. Wow, the obliques, that's a totally new stimulus. So there might be some body weight dumbbell fusion there. I got to play with it and see how to make it fit. But again, as much as possible, I make these, if they're longer videos or longer workouts, you have an ability to just do 10, 20, or 30 minutes of it. So it meets you where you're at on any given day. So just look at it. If it's longer or more stuff, that's just more work on my part. It's extra value for you. Do what you can. But yeah, it just, the whole concept with that is versus you want to max out fat loss. You want to burn as many calories during the workout and after. A typical workout of like do a set, rest 3 minutes, and then an hour passes and like you did maybe 5 or 10 sets, which is fine. But like it's not going to help you max out the calorie burn during the workout. And when you do these things with incomplete rest, but keep the intensity high because you're going from like, chest to back to quads to hams or upper to lower or core to cardio, whatever. Like it's allowing you to just max out the intra-workout calorie burn and then also in the post-workout metabolic afterburn effect of just the oxygen deficit from that higher intensity style of training. So and classic approaches are just 3 full body workouts a week like that. We've shifted it now where it's only 2. And then we actually go Metcon weekday focus, off day metabolic mobility, and then metabolic bodybuilding weekends to take advantage of. So if you do have flexibility, those extra calories are going to be flooded around more muscle building traditional style workouts, so that you get a little bit of muscle gain stimulus on the weekend, and then those extra calories in moderation, those extra little eats and treats are going to go to the muscles and help you, if not maintain muscle mass, simulate muscle gain on the weekends before you shift back to those fat burning weekdays. So Tom is asking, is there a workout for today? I did 2 rounds of 60-30 yesterday. So Tom, if you go to the FUEGO playlist, the playlist description has a complete schedule for the 6 weeks, outline exactly what to do on each day. Also, if you go to for new members, a lot of new members come in too. Just the key areas to get focused on with youtube.com/BJ Gaddour. The homepage. You come down to the homepage, and the highest thing up on the homepage that we're currently working on is to see the whole FUEGO playlist right there. Click it, open it up, click the playlist description. You'll see the entire schedule, events, and all that stuff. Today is Metabolic Mobility 1 as listed. The other key area to look at is posts. So you'll see there's like on the homepage underneath like the banner of me like having a kettlebell, you'll see it says home and videos but you'll see posts, and posts is where like it's like my newsletter to you guys, like what's going on today, or I've got a live stream coming up and I'll say, hey guys, any questions I can answer on the live stream for you. If you can't make it live, you can listen to the replay. And obviously on a live stream like this, I can go in great detail with an answer that, typing would take forever and just wouldn't have the same impact as me explaining it to you in the way that I do verbally versus in writing. I would try to check posts daily because I'll let you know if I upload a new video, or I'll let you know if like something else is coming up, or I'll just remind you what you're doing today or what to expect. So home and posts are where I'd be looking the most on the channel. And obviously, if you're a member, there's members only playlists, all the members only videos. Any video that is for a VIP will have VIP in the title. That means it'll typically be a video only VIPs will see, and then it's ad free. Public content still has ads on it, but our VIP member only content, if it has VIP in the title, like it always will, there's no ads on it, and only you can see it because you're paying as a VIP member. So yeah, that's what you're doing. That schedule's all outlined, and glad to have you as a VIP, Tom. Hope you're enjoying the start to the program here, and glad you pumped out 60-30 yesterday. So yeah, that next one, 8, 3 more here. Track your cheats. This is critical. I'm not like, you know this, I'm not a fan of like measuring shit out and being obsessive compulsive with portions. Obviously a lot of people will tell you, one of the memes I see is like, you want to lose fat, but you won't track your macros. And then it's like a guy going, or, something like that. And it's like, okay, I get that. There's a lot of people that have incredible success with food trackers or those apps. As someone that who's had, frankly, eating disorders with this stuff, who was a binge eater, and would go from binging to like extreme starvation, stuff like this earlier, and approaching this, especially the bodybuilding stuff I did. I just know, like, this, I know it's not sustainable. And I also know that it's going to make you crazy about this stuff. It's going to stress you the fuck out. And do you want to be like, I measure things out. Like, if it's simple, like, okay, I got a cup, I can measure out a cup of frozen fruit. That's one thing. But like, when we're like, and I think it's important to go tablespoons of oils, because oils are very, like, olive oil is amazing. But I mean, a lot of Italians and Greeks and Arabs, they dip their whole bread in olive oil. It's like, bro, like, that slice of bread has 1,000 calories on it because you've got it soaked in olive oil. So there are certain things that I'm an advocate. Like, at some point you get to the point with this, and we've shared this before in the past, where like you go from like tablespoons and measuring cups and stuff like that to like, oh, a fist. Fist is about a cup of food, or about a serving of 4 to 6 ounces of protein. So I can go off a fist, and a thumb can be used for like a tablespoon of oil. And then you get like a small palm of nuts. Is this, so like you start to like, you go on those types of ways of doing things versus like food scales. And then you look at your fucking fridge, and it's like Christian Bale in American Psycho level of like, you go open up someone's fridge and you see like 7 containers of chicken and broccoli and rice precisely measured to the grain of rice. And you ask yourself, is this life? Like, okay, like, I might be lean, but like, is this truly? But by the way, like, there's someone right now that has that in their fridge. And like, I thought I was doing it right. I'm not trying to if you have success doing what you're doing, I encourage you to continue in that format, as long as it's not costing you joy in life. If it's not like, there are people in your life that are just like, this might be a little excessive. Maria says, thanks for the tip of looking under posts. Makes it much easier to navigate. I'm slow, but once I catch on, I'm happy. Look, Maria, anything new? Maria! We do a lot of Arnold stuff here. Maria! There's a learning curve to everything here, for sure. But what I do love about the YouTube experience versus our former TDBJ app is that, I mean, like, how many times can I communicate with you guys? Like, it's nonstop. Like, I can, I continue to give the free public content, which you guys benefit from. The shorts I share, they're like a minute or less. You're seeing movements that we're currently working on, or that are coming up soon, or maybe a reminder of something you haven't seen in a while that might become an EHO drill. So there's value in continue to watch those shorts. I put out 1 short a day. The other free public content I'm sharing now at this point, it's a short version of something that we're currently working on that has ads on it, because they're not paying as a VIP member and they're not getting full routines anymore. So there might be value in looking at that. But the posts, that's where I communicate on what we're working on each day, trying to get questions from you guys so I can fill in those gaps that, I can't in just a video that I shared with you. But yeah, I do like the post feature a lot, because I can even do polls and stuff on that too. I'll keep getting better at that. But I look at it just like, it's like the newsletter, if you will, for our VIP members. So I think there's a lot of value in that as well. But so going back to, circling back, what I do think it's important to track are your cheats. I always go back to this. When I first got started as a personal trainer, I made this nutrition system called Eternal Eating. And we had something on it called the nutritional saddlebag. And that was all the non-approved foods you ate over the course of the week you put in that saddlebag. And then at the end of each week, based on how things went for your body, you looked at it and you said, was that bag too full? And then what was in that bag? Like, was it a whole box of cookies? Could it have just been like a couple cookies? Because again, you do want to track that. And by the way, like, I'm also a big fan of eating the same cheat. It's only 6 weeks. So once you find a good cheat that works for you, or like a couple, like, you can rotate, like week 1, 3, and 5, I'll do this. Weeks 2, 4, and 6, I'll do this. And the example could be like, I know I can share a large thin crust pizza with my wife on Fridays and always hit my goals. Now, deep dish pan style, and then 2 of those days are gone, unless I'm trying to like blow up to like 300 pounds. Those days are gone. This is the over 40 uncle. This is Uncle Baby Biscuits. Biscuits, That boy, a biscuit could do some real damage. I'd go burritos, chocolate cake, whole deep dish pizza, chips. I mean, you name it. The next day, I would look like the Michelin Man, but I could bounce back quick. Not this over 40 body. And by the way, like that's how to blow up my arthritis. All those inflammatory foods. So thin crust pizza, thinly breaded hot chicken. Okay, like you start to know these are the cheats that I can work in. And again, you know the exact amounts. Maybe those 6 tenders were too much. You go 4 tenders, or maybe it was the 5 slices you had last week. Try to bring it down to 3. You want to fine tune the flexibility and have the same basic diets of, like, the protein and produce stuff we talked about earlier in the episode. Like that's the stuff that, like, you never really have to track because it just becomes internalized. But where a lot of you will get basically the weekends can fuck you. They really can. Like, and it's tough because you do 5 or 6 days nearly perfect, and it does just take one meal or one day to sabotage the efforts of a whole week's work of effort. And I hate that. I don't want you to experience that. It's very demoralizing, and it makes you think, why even bother? And the reality is, you just have to go through those periods of time to get to the other side of it, where it's like, okay, I now know what amount of flexibility. Because again, like I'm not why would I not want you to have, if you can have an extra piece of cake, or if you could have a whole cake and a whole pizza, do all these workouts, feel great, look great, be healthy, and be happy. I mean, why would I not want you to have the cake and the pizza? But I know this is not going to happen. I know it's got to be more locked in. Again, take a baby portion mentality to your cheats. It's really about, food choices matter, but it really is about portions, especially like in the States. Our portions are out of fucking control. The only good thing about inflation is that like all the foods you buy now, they come in smaller for a higher price, by the way. Like it's causing a shrinkflation of we can't afford the supersized portions anymore. So that's like the one benefit of this. I talk about, like, you always try to find the positive side of things. And it's like, well, okay, food is so expensive now, and it destroys you to go out to eat now. The cost of food, and again, the restaurants aren't as good anymore. The service isn't as good. So, and the food quality is not as good, and it's going to be 20, 30% plus more calories than I would normally eat at home, just because of all the extra oils and butters and stuff they throw into foods to make them taste good. Oh, I'll save money and eat at home and lock it down, or I have my takeouts and like Dave's hot chicken. I know that works for me. I can have 6 of those with my Sieta chips on Fridays, and have no problem continuing to burn fat once I get back on track the next day. But going Domino's and KFC and those are just not going to fly for me. And by the way, if they're not going to fly for me, as a larger male, just reflect on how that might affect you if you're smaller or maybe female, and again, things just don't run as hot. But you guys smell better and you're more beautiful. So again, we can't have it all. Linz, we can't have it all. Lynn says, I'm so sorry I've already mentioned. Does anyone have suggestions on a good quality protein bar? So here's what I'll say about that's. Actually, I'm glad you brought that up. Protein bars. I look at protein bars. I guess a good way to look at protein bars in most cases, like a healthier candy bar. So use them if you need them after a workout, or I like treating myself to protein bars like as part of my cheats, because it's much healthier for me than a brownie or a cookie, because of how disciplined I am during the week. It does really feel like a treat. But the real quality ones tend to not have enough protein. Like the ones I really like, I like Perfect bars. I like RX bars. I really like those 2. I like Kind bars. Those are the 3 bars I like. They have protein, like as much as I think Perfect bars have the most, like with the peanut butter and the almond, like 15 to 16 grams. But it's also with a good amount of carbohydrate and fat to go with it, and not enough protein to be a complete serving of protein. I would always kind of position those more as treats, and frankly, use protein powder or the Fairlife brand milk or the Fairlife 30-gram protein shakes you can get at Costco for you can get 18 of those for $30. Frankly, I've just been starting my day with one of those. Or what I'll do, like after like one of my Friday workouts that I make for you guys, like it's a big push. Typically what I'll do is I'll start exporting the videos, because it takes these files take so long to export, upload, and all the transfer, all that stuff. So while I'm doing that, because I'm just dead, I'll have one of those. I'll have like a Perfect bar or a Kind bar, and then a 30-gram ready to drink protein shake while I'm just doing that computer work. And that also kind of takes the edge off for me, so that, you know, as I go grab my pizza or whatever else we're doing that Friday, I'm not so famished. I'm not going to just overdo it, right? So I might not be the answer you're looking for. Okay. So by the way, I even, like, my friend works at Gatorade, and they made like a Gatorade protein bar. And again, it has sugar in it, but he actually gives them to, he's got very skinny kids that are very active, and he gives them to them around their competitions or their workouts. You know, that's fine. Like, I mean, it's, you know, because it's the only way they can actually get enough calories and to not be so skinny. And yes, it has sugar, but like, again, like if you're actively metabolizing the sugar, like in competition, like, yeah, you can have a Gatorade. Like, I'm not you guys, I don't want you having Gatorades during these workouts. I'm talking about like peak performing athletes, kids who are just like metabolic machines. On Fridays, I bought, because they were on sale at Discount Grocery. I'm like, let me try these Gatorade protein bars out. And they have a lot of complete protein in them, but it does have a lot of sugar. I forget exactly what type of sugar in it. A lot of ingredients. But again, like, I just know after a workout, especially a tough Friday workout like that, I incinerate that bar. I'm not having it as my go-to protein source, though, or a protein snack. To me, I just look at it as a treat, or a better option when there's no other options available, right? So if I had no other lean protein source that didn't have a lot of additional sugar in it, and I wasn't very active, that would be better than going to McDonald's, or, you know, getting fast food, or something else like that. So, by the way, if you have protein bars you recommend, drop it in the comments. But Roberto says he likes the Quest protein bars. Yeah, Quest is okay. I've had those in the past. Again, like, a lot of stuff in those things, like a lot of ingredients, and you know, a lot of those protein bars too will have like inferior sources of protein, like soy, and that type of thing. So just, again, like, look at them more as, I just think it's great. If your cheats are protein bars, you're in a whole nother level of health and fitness in the world. Who's eating, you know, like, just mindlessly at work, donuts. Because my wife works at a library, and like, just every day they're bringing donuts and cookies, and people are making baked goods and shit. And no, your treat, because you're so legit, is a protein bar. What people are thinking is like the healthy way to eat. No, it really is like a treat. It's not. The RX bars, I think the best is probably the RX bar, because it's literally just like dates, nuts, egg whites. But it's only like 12 grams per bar. And so you'd have to have like 3 of those to get over 30 grams. That ends up being a lot, like 600 calories. That could be fine on a hike, a really active day, but like, that's not a foundation of like a daily fat loss meal plan, or even like a regular meal plan, in my opinion. But maybe it fills in some gaps. Maybe it's like a chef snack, or a nightly treat, which I'll touch on in a second here too. Jeff says, I'm loving Chobani's new 30 grams protein yogurt shakes. Have I seen those? I love the triple oikos, triple zero oikos Greek yogurts. It's 100 grams, 100 calories, and 15 grams of protein per cup. So like 2 of those could be a complete source of protein at night. It's a nice little sweet treat, only 200 calories. Those are, I'm a big fan of those too. And so they're starting to come up more ready to drink shakes. Dr. Tito Sotolango. Tito, what's up, baby? El Fuego. He says, Fuego is fire. I appreciate that, brother. Yeah, that's how I would look at, you know, that type of thing. And with kids and stuff like that, protein bars are a nice way, especially on activities, going to games or locations and stuff like that too. You know, they have much less to worry about. Again, like, let them enjoy life at its peak when it comes to eating, like, where you can just pretty much do whatever you want when you're active. Not that you don't want to encourage good eating habits, but yeah, RX bar, a perfect bar, a kind bar. These are much better choices for all of us than the candied bars in the grocery aisles or right around checkout. Robert's saying, I keep getting commercials on the site. I did join VIP. So again, just a reminder, the video has to have VIP in the title for it to be an ad-free video. This is the business model here on YouTube is it's free with ads. So all the public content has ads on it. And then what I do is I upload additional members only content, or I take stuff that is available for free with ads, and I re-upload it separately with VIP in the title to make it ad free. But like on certain podcasts and stuff like that, there will be ads that'll be ran. On any of the public content doesn't have VIP in the title, there will be ads on it. That's just how it works. But anything that has VIP in the title will have no ads on it. And I create members only VIP playlists like El Fuego has no ads in any of the videos there. Those are separately uploaded and members only. But public content has ads on it. That's just like, so it's very, very, by the way, this is like the standard now. Hulu, Netflix, almost all of them have there's even I pay for Netflix and Hulu when I get ads on all the content. But our VIP content, 0 ads. It'll have VIP in the title. And then I do some members only podcasts where there'll be no ads on it. But, this is a particular podcast where there will be ads on it. So, but only members can comment. So that's the other one thing too. I don't do any more podcasts where, or maybe I would. It would be a special thing where only members can comment now on live stream podcasts. So hopefully that makes sense. And it's just, again, it's part of what we're hoping that people that want the members only content, only we can get it as a VIP. So because it is a business, we got to keep the lights on because a lot of effort and energy goes into this stuff. And the more support we have, the better the community will benefit because I can eventually allocate more resources to it, or maybe eventually at some point get some help. Because right now, Complete Biscuits is doing, it's all the hats. Every hat is on the Biscuits head. I'll take one more question before I get back into the final 2 tips here. Lynn says, I walk my dogs for 45 minutes every morning. Normally, I will ruck with 25 pounds 2-3 times a week. Yeah, keep rucking. Now, whatever you've been doing is your daily activity. The goal is to keep that going with this program. And your daily walk or your rucking, that's fine. That's going to just help you metabolize more fat. Any additional walking outside of these workouts put you in fat burning mode. Walking is a more fat loss aerobic activity. I feel like there's an exponential return to the fat burning process. So that will help tremendously. Number 9. So just to finish on 8, track your cheats, find the cheats that work for you. Try to get the portions as low as possible. Get away with as much as you can. Okay. But fine tune the food choices and lock in the portions and also look at tightening the flexibility window. When you're young, you can go 2 full weekends. You can go the full weekend if you want, even all 3 days if you want to go like Friday evening through Sunday afternoon. Typically, people will do best with a day. And even from there, if the day is still messing you up, keep it to a single meal or a half day or a 2 to 4 hour period without going with like a binging mentality, just like, and keep it more towards don't start your day with it because that'll really throw you off the whole rest of the day. I've done full episodes of cheat meals in the past. Maybe I'll do a revamped version of that as well. But most do well with 1 meal and or 2 to 4 hour block of time, especially if the goal is like rapid fat loss. If you're already pretty lean, you might be able to get away with the full day. And again, get away with what you can, track it, modify and fine tune based on how you're responding to it. Number 9, upper lower metabolic bodybuilding stacks. So this is where, again, past fat loss periods, I know where I've been too fat loss focused and I haven't done enough stuff to stimulate muscle gain or maintain muscle mass. And you end up a little bit weaker and less muscular on the other side of it, even though you still retain most of the muscle mass, but the muscles don't look as hard or as shapely. And then it does also set you up in a situation where there is a slight decline now in your resting metabolic rate, which makes it harder to maintain that weight loss. So it's part of what I tried to set up for you guys with this plan, where it's like the Metcon weekdays, ideally pair with like, lower carb or carb cycling approach to maximize that fat burning effect. And then we have our metabolic bodybuilding style weekends, typically around your weekend flexibility. So we simulate some muscle gain in the process. You'll be much less likely to lose muscle mass in the program this way. Yeah, you could do the typical 3 full body, like Monday, Wednesday, Friday split. That's effective. It works. This is just a split that I really enjoy, and I think you guys will really enjoy as well. And the shift from the Metcon style to metabolic bodybuilding is now we are, instead of alternating non-competitive exercises, we are alternating or stacking competitive stuff like true bodybuilding, chasing the pump and burn, trapping the blood in those muscles, getting insane amounts of time under tension to simulate more muscle gain. And again, like I love bodybuilding. People not shit on bodybuilding all the time. And it's like, they do have the most muscle from these techniques. These techniques work. And by the way, these techniques can be very low impact on the joints compared to like classic powerlifting style strength training, which absolutely does create a lot of wear and tear on the joints. So by having that kind of lower Friday, upper Saturday, use the Saturdays, we're using all the live workouts or the real-time workouts, raw and uncut from the Superhero Shoulders program. They're complete upper body workouts with a shoulder focus. A lot of them are also like full body shoulder. And then Fridays with me, it's incredible like leg day journey we're going on that anyone can do. Because again, if I can do it, you can do it because of the knee issues I have. But you're going to love those sessions. And again, it's just a nice shift where it's like more heart rate, systemic, sweat everywhere, full body to like laser focus, mind muscle connection, pump and burn, and then really creating some muscle damage as well, which takes a lot of calories to recover from. And again, allows you to get away with a little bit more on the weekend and use that extra fuel for recovery. Not that I'm encouraging you to overdo it or binge, but again, feel good about the fact you put in the work and let's use the fuel for recovery. So big fan of those. And again, you'll experience a lot of them, whether it be the extended sets or like stacking competitive movements together. An example of, that for the upper body would be like going from dips to push-ups. The push-ups will feel as tough as the dips, even if you can do a lot of push-ups because of the pre-fatigue from the harder movement. A lot of different things like mechanical drop sets or just, stacking things competitively, or you'll experience it. But the goal then shifts to like local muscle level, classic pump and burn bro style with a twist. Because again, I'm showing you guys how to do this with minimal equipment and oftentimes lighter loads or minimal loading access, right? Where you can't just adjust things up or down in 5-pound increments necessarily. So, or you have like one pair of weights, like ultimate upper. You had one pair of weights. I have not heard one person go through that workout and say they weren't sufficiently challenged with like even a pair of 10-pounders. So that's part of the I guess you say the genius of the BJ Gaddour experience, or just, what I do. Because again, that's been kind of my obsession in terms of what my audience looks for. Final thing before I take any final questions here, talk some content quick. So just some quick hunger hacks. Vinegar-based foods help a lot with curbing hunger. Thinking pickles or slaws without, adding like the fatty dressings and mayos and stuff to it. Just buy a jar of pickles each week, crunch on them when you get hungry, crunch on them when you're cooking and you're famished. That always helps. Vinegar-based dressings in your salads are incredible for that as well. I also like to season my meat and stuff with vinegar, especially when I'm roasting it. Makes it more tender, whether it be like, apple cider vinegar or something like that. I love bone broths. I actually get like these packets of bone broth, beef bone broth that you can just pour out quick. It's actually less expensive than getting the big bottles of the bone broth. And I can just boil some water quick, drop it in, stir it. I can sip on that before I eat my dinner. Really helps take the edge off and curb hunger. All that good collagen for the hair, skin, nails, joints. And it really does curb hunger as well. Again, getting not only the fluid, but it's just great. Extra veggies. You can always go extra greens, like go double salad, fill up. Pre-meal water is also critical. If you want to put some electrolyte in that, I like these. I get these Propel packets. Black cherry is my favorite. It's clear, and it's just an electrolyte mix I throw into my big jug of water here. I have like 2 or 3 of these a day. Talking. And, drinking that water between meals, before meals, you get fuller faster, and make sure you're not overeating to compensate for dehydration. Because again, part of what happens when you do carb cycle or you do indoor do fat loss training, you're sweating a lot and you're depleting more muscle glycogen, and you will lose water, so you can get more dehydrated, which makes you hungry. So hungry can also make your joints sore. So be on top of that. Digestion walks. You eat what you're supposed to eat. Get up, move around, go for a quick walk. You're still hungry. Have some more veggies, have a little extra protein if needed. But oftentimes, a 10 to 20 minute walk, make it a family thing. Take your pet, take your dog, do something fun. Make it a ritual. That's a way to prevent overeating at night. And then give yourself 100 to 300 calories to play with at night. That can be like controlled, but also they're treats, but they're controlled. Like again, like 2 of those triple oikos yogurts. Someone had mentioned maybe it's a 30-gram protein shake Chobani, which I'm sure tastes great. It has a nice, good sweet, take the edge off of that sweet tooth. But it's controlled, it's locked down, it's easily repeated. It's something you can just lock into. That could also be, technically that could be any 100, 300 calories you want, but you're at least restricting your calories in that treat. I'd make it as nutritious as possible. Ideally, it's not, a Snicker bar, even though technically I guess that's one of the better. I feel like Snicker bar has a protein bar now, I think too. Snickers has a protein bar. Payday, I think, was one of the better candy bars in terms of health. I'm going to give you that flexibility. Again, I'd make it as clean as possible. Like an RX bar would put you at that 200 calorie mark, like 250 in that range. That's a kind bar, perfect bar. Technically, maybe a little over 300. So maybe that I'm not fit, but give yourself that 100, 300 calories to play with based on body size and how aggressively you want to pursue this. And just lock that in as kind of your treat outside of your diet. That it gives you something to look forward to. I even can just have a bowl of my wild protein chips and drink that with like a Zevia ginger ale. And that to me is a great treat at night when I'm watching a game or a movie. But you give yourself that amount to play with there as well. The last bonus tip I'll give is like EHO some strength work. And again, like dip push up, pull up hang variations are my favorite to do that with. They don't have to be all out maximal, strength or repeated effort. They can just be submaximal sets or just hangs only. But like you want to maintain your strength and, play with. This is for the more advanced people. If you're like that confuses you, just ignore this bonus tip. If you've been with us for a long time and you're more familiar with what I'm talking about with that, keep dripping that in and peppering that in, throughout your work day. And maybe even you want to add some additional, like couple sets of just what to be some good strength work that you can do with your equipment setup and stuff like that. That'll just help the whole process of maintaining the muscle and strength in the program. If that confuses you, don't even worry about that. That's for more advanced trainees that are like the G.I. Joe Jane amongst us who really know what I'm talking about there. And again, that's kind of a separate conversation altogether. Any final questions before I just share some content that I've been enjoying lately and close this out? Just drop it in and I will answer. Oh, wait, I missed Steven. Steven said, pump for this outline, take advantage of BJ's best real fitness for a real person. Been a learner of his for years, even though his Lakers are doing good, go Blazers. So the Blazers have been playing well. Like, there's no easy out in the Western Conference right now. And again, like when you are the Lakers, everyone gets up for the Lakers. Like the Lakers get no easy games because everybody hates the Lakers because they got Luka Doncic. Everybody thought like when LeBron is about to retire, the Lakers are going to suck for years and have to rebuild. And look who they just got. By the way, that's been exciting to watch. For years, I've been watching the Lakers. The last couple of years of watching them, they get up and you just know they're about to relax. And instead of just putting them away and resting their guys and their starters in the fourth quarter, they're going to let the guys back in the game. But even when like teams punch back now, I don't have any. They know how to punch right back. and just stop a run. Like it's a truly different team. It's been one of the most transformative trade deadlines I've ever seen. This team, uh, the number of games they've ended up winning that they would have lost pre-trade deadline before they got Finney Smith, who's just an incredible defensive guy. They got Vando back, and then obviously getting Luka. And then, by the way, they're not even offensively, they haven't even figured things out, but it's been exciting to watch. And I have no idea what that ceiling is, but I do know when you have a good defense, you've got a much higher floor. Think about, I'm talking athletics. I talk about ceilings and floors with fitness too. Your mobility work is your floor. That's the stuff. It just takes effort. Like I just have to do it. It's not tough to foam. I mean, yeah, it can be painful if you don't do it often, but to stretch and roll, this stuff makes you feel good. It doesn't take a whole lot out of you. In fact, it makes you feel better. It actually can energize you. Burnout sets of pull-ups and dips or squat, like, that's exhausting. You got to get up for that. But it raises your ceiling of what you can look like and how well you can perform and all that stuff. But what's most important thing, especially if you're over 30, over 40, you want to raise your floor. It means you want to be able to move through a full range of motion with as little pain as possible. And you want a good movement base. You're moving throughout your day outside of exercise, just getting in that habit. That's your floor. That means no matter, even if I don't get to the squats, the push-ups, the dips, the high intensity stuff, I'm good. Like, like that, it truly is like, yeah, that's my ceiling. And obviously I want to maximize that, but the floor is that daily movement, the EHO, the massage, the mobility, the walking. That's the stuff that will allow you to do this forever. That you even when the ceiling, like you have a bad shooting day, that's your ceiling. That's the offense. You can't control that. Sometimes you can't shoot, but you can always play hard defense and hit the glass, right? So that's what I want. That's why like those off days are so important. That floor, raising that floor with your fitness makes such a big difference. Piggybacking on that, 3 things I've watched recently. They unfortunately they are all basketball related, but one of them, I'll start with the third one I was going to recommend. But Running Point on Netflix. It's a new series loosely based on Jeannie Buss and the Lakers franchise, with Kate Hudson as the star. Kate Hudson is phenomenal. By the way, it's just a phenomenal series. So fun, short, like 30-minute sitcom situations, ridiculous, very on point with a lot of the contemporary comedy stuff going on right now. And I just great cast too. Killer cast. My wife doesn't even watch the games, and she loved it as well. So spouse, couple friendly as well. Great performance. We crushed it. I just spent all Saturday elevating my legs, watching that show, relaxing, and get ready for the next week. So highly recommend it. I think you enjoy it. 2 documentaries, whether it be cardio theater, stretching, Court of Gold. See my 2024 Olympics hat. Chronicles the basketball Olympics that just happened. And it's not just USA, like they covered the Serbian team, France, a little bit of Germany. They really did a good job of covering the other teams that were very competitive in the competition. If you enjoyed that at all, like you'll love this documentary. It was super well done. Again, like I know a good sports documentary. Like I know it's a good sports documentary when you don't have to be into sports to enjoy it, because they cover like all the lifestyle and just what's involved behind the scenes outside of the court, the field, the competition. That's on Netflix as well. That was phenomenal. And then another good one on Max, formerly known as HBO, was We Beat the Dream Team. And it chronicles the USA Select college players who would have been playing in the 92 Olympics had the pros not come in because they had just lost in the previous Olympics. And they beat the Dream Team in a scrimmage, or did they? As some say, it was planned to make the Dream Team, get serious about potentially losing, even though they won by an average of 40 points. I mean, that was like truly before the world started to catch up in the competition. But it was a cool series. Grant Hill kind of leads the whole process. But those are three things I've watched recently I've enjoyed. I'm going to do more movie stuff. This has already been a pretty long episode, so I'm going to cut there. I got to go walk and do my midday stuff. But just 3 things I wanted to throw your way to check out. Like, share, subscribe. Join to become a VIP member. We'd love to have you for El Fuego. You can start anytime, but obviously you want to jump in as soon as possible. I think you're really enjoying it. $20 a month, cancel anytime. Mix of some of my greatest hits, a lot of good new stuff, and also some live stuff as well. Do it with me, raw and uncut, follow along style. So hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you guys benefited from this as well. Love you guys. Peace.